Okay, so good evening, everyone. Thank you for joining us on Eye to Eye's first 2026 webinar. I'm very excited to be here and to have you here as well. I see some familiar names and some new names, which is always exciting. If you want, you're welcome to introduce yourself through the chat so we can get to know each other. One of the main things that Eye to Eye is trying to build is a community, an autism focused community with professionals and parents, families, caregivers. And I think one of the webinar is one of the ways for us to get to know each other. So of course I welcome you, as I said before. I will say for those who are new that Eye to Eye is an Israeli based NGO focused on creating better treatment for children with autism and their family in Ethiopia. And thanks to our participants from Ethiopia and our collaborators, I feel that over the past few months since we started, things are really thriving and we have a lot of work still to do, but I think that we are changing things for the better. I invite you all to reach out to Eye to Eye through our LinkedIn, Facebook, email, whatever you want, to add anything, if you have any comments, ideas, any type of collaborations you would want to do. So you're always welcome. And without further ado, I will introduce our amazing ladies tonight that volunteered their time and their experience. Miss Yael
Szendro.
Sorry, Szendro. And and Dr. Sorry, I keep forgetting that. Dr. Esther Tekuzener, both occupational therapists with many years of experience. I will let you both introduce yourselves before you get started. And I will say that, again, any of you who want to open your cameras, you feel welcome to. And if you have questions throughout the session, you're welcome to write them in the chat, and I'll ask them while we go along. At the end, we'll try to leave 10 minutes for questions. If any of you want to ask questions specifically, you're also welcome to do that then. I will say this is being recorded and will be uploaded to Eye to Eye's YouTube channel, so you're welcome to watch it again later on. And enjoy. Sorry, my video went off for some reason. There, you're welcome to start.
Are you going to upload
Yes, I'm going to share. In the meantime, you could introduce yourself, and I'm sharing now the presentation.
Okay, good evening to everyone. It's sort of awkward to talk like this, but my name is Yael Szendro, and I'm an occupational therapist, and I deal a lot with the ASD children's population here in Israel. I've been working both here in Israel. I have a private clinic. I'm working publicly. I was involved in opening a rehabilitation center in Armenia many years ago. And now I'm enjoying being with the kids and helping families, cope with whatever the challenges are. So I hope that what we'll go through will help you guys too.
I'm Esther Tekuzener. Yael and I have worked together since we pretty much started in the field. When Yael moved over to children and I came to Israel, we've been working for the last 40 years in developing programming in child family development centers in Israel. Yael is now in charge of a program in the Variety Center working with autistic children, and I've joined her group a few years back. In addition, I've worked in the university for many years and I'm now working in a private clinic.
Thank you very much to both of you. I just want to make sure, Liel and Dr. Marin, that while they speak, you see them and not me? Yes? Okay, great. Okay, the floor is yours. And you see the PowerPoint?
Yes.
Okay, great.
Okay, we're going to indicate to you when we're ready to have a slide change because you're in charge. Okay, I'm just going to make the slide show bigger for us. I'm going to do full screen, I think I can.
Okay, basically, no, you can go on. But what we're gonna talk tonight is really understand a bit more what occupational therapist is. We want to get more specific into pediatric occupational therapist, what we do, and then we get even more specific into sensory registration. And I think by being in the sensory registration mode and understanding what it's all about, we will be able to think about our ASD population. That's basically our menu for tonight.
Okay. Change, please.
Okay, occupational therapy basically is a therapeutic, rehabilitation, and educational. Yeah, I also something went wrong, right? Profession. Okay, and the goals are to provide individuals with more tools, more skills that will enable them to really go through the demands of life. And we will discuss later what those demands are.
Next slide, please.
And we meet most of his occupational therapists. We work in different facilities, as you can see, in hospitals, in schools, at homes, nursing homes. And we vary with the population that we deal with. Some deal with children, adults, adolescents, seniors. And with every population, the therapy is a bit different because the occupations are different also.
Next slide.
But the principles, they stay the same with all the populations, okay? We want to promote meaningful, functional, and engagement in daily habits and routines. These are really the occupations in life. For every community, it might be a little different, but these are still the things. And while we, at the same time, respect really the unique abilities, the interests, the cultures, and at the same time, we want to make sure that we take into consideration the challenges that the child has.
Right.
And the pediatric occupational therapy is actually skill treatment that enables the child to be as physically, emotionally, and socially involved again as possible. We don't erase the challenges, but we want them to be as involved. And the reason is because we want them to feel as confident as possible.
Right.
The areas of occupation are the ADL, the activities of daily living, like you see in this picture, getting dressed, brushing teeth, going to the toilet, rest and sleep. It's very important that we know and make sure that the child rests. He's able to sleep. He's able to change his environment, to change his activities into those resting times, because afterwards he would need those energies to work, to play, to be in the educational system. And all those things are through social interaction, okay, social relationship. The important piece that we feel is, since we're talking about children, children are not separated from the families. So it's like the child and family-centered intervention. And we want to be able to educate the parents, to give them the guidance that they need, to be able to provide them with the knowledge, okay, the knowledge to be able to understand development, to be able to understand the challenges of their children. We want to coach them along the way, okay, to be able to see where the things, you know, that we are implementing, where they work, where they don't work. So all along, it's this collaboration with the family. We want to make sure that that we respect where the child is coming from, what is important for him, what's important for the family. And as we are talking about allowing the child to be as active and participant as possible, and we're talking about regulations, so the most important thing that we feel, and actually a mother was telling it to me the day before yesterday when we were talking, that the most important thing that she learned is that in order to help her child regulate, she needs to be regulated. So this is our main goal, to help parents regulate. Next slide.
Okay, so in front of you, you see what we call our model. OT is a collaborative approach to treatment. It places the child values, goals, and needs at the heart of the care. It's grounded in humanitarian psychology, and it places theory in a contextual understanding, tailoring to the individual's unique self, environment, and the demands of the task. How will everything fit together? What happens when the person and the environment and the activity all fit together? Engagement is not only just doing something, but it's actually caring about it. Participation is being part of the life activity, not just practicing it. Our environments are contextual. They're both physical and social. We have social expectations and we have cultural values. And we also have different environments that have different needs in them. There are noisy environments and quiet environments. And the environment influences whether the goal and the occupation and the person is able to do it easily, do their activity easily, or has difficulty with it. The person brings with him what he comes with. He brings his social, he brings his emotional, his sensory, his cognition, and how they act together and how the activity demands of it is basically what we're going to look at. So this is our conceptual model of occupational therapy throughout the whole spectrum of people we work with. The occupational therapy process includes many different steps. The first, obviously, is evaluation. We do formal and informal evaluations. And as Yael said, with this collaboration of parents, they are much a part of our evaluation process as they are with our intervention process. We collaborate with them and the other people that are involved to help develop an individualized program for each child. We look at what our goals are to promote functional play, movement, manipulation, independence, and social interaction so the child can be more independent in his daily skills and his daily routines. Next one. Teaching skills for us means that we're continuously looking at using our clinical reasoning to try to create meaningful, sometimes repetitive, often repetitive if we actually want to teach a skill, and gradated activities. And we're basically always looking for the adaptive response. If we don't see the child is adapting the way we want, we try to monitor, we try to change something and add something just because we want that child to feel like he's actually succeeded in the task. We work a lot on errorless learning, where the child actually learns and completes a task without a lot of stress. We look at gross motor skills, which focus on postural, large movements of the hands and the legs and the body all together in order to encourage development, rolling, crawling, walking, running, jumping, playing, sitting, being able to maneuver and manipulate environments from place to place. Next slide. The gross motor is the foundation on which we build a lot of fine motor skills. We look at the movements and the dexterities and the small muscles of the hands and the fingers, hands together. We'll look at in-hand manipulation on reaching, carrying, ripping, building, putting things together, writing, playing. All of these motor movements are necessary to build, again, adaptive abilities within our day-to-day life. Next slide. We look at the visual perceptual skills, at their spatial and temporal information, which is the key to allowing somebody to navigate in his environment, also to motor plan and to sequence acts. It's important for play. It's important for ADL. It's important for navigation and movement and writing and reading.
Esty, what is ADL for people here who...
I'm sorry, it was before on activities of daily living.
Okay, thank you for the reminder.
Oh, it's life skills. Next slide. Okay, so here we are on that ADL, activities of daily living slide. one of our main goals is to really encourage independence as much as possible, even if it's limited independence, to enable the person to be able to dress himself, feed himself, help himself get into bed, hygiene, all the things that will give him the feeling of ability of doing something.
Of dignity, of self-control.
Respect.
Mm-hmm.
Next slide.
Okay, when we talk about the sensory processing, okay, we basically have to remember that it's a neurological process of sensory stimuli in the brain, okay, and we're basically looking for the ability to receive that information from the environment, to process it, and then after we've received and processed it, we want to execute the adaptive response, okay, and we want to be able to enable learning all the time. That's fine. You can continue on and develop a car. Okay. Basically, one of the things, like we mentioned before, we had the gross motor, the fine motor, the ADL. The sensory regulation is also part of what we do as OTs. And the reason that we decided to specify on it is because 98, if not 100% of all the ASD children, they all have sensory regulation issues. It's comorbid to the diagnosis. And basically, if we are regulated, regulation actually allows us to start, follow up, to follow through, to finish activity, and we are able to control it, to modify if we need, to adapt the behavior, in order to be able to really participate in whatever the demands of the environment are. Whether it is, and like Esther said before, whether it is that we are in a run, we want to run and get to someplace quickly, or we want to slow down and get more regulated in order to go to sleep. Okay, we can't change those regulation issues to different, I would say, different activities. We need both. Yeah, next slide. Okay, if you will look into literature, you will find that the terms, there's a lot of terms, and they all come from different aspects, but they're all more or less the same. We would talk about sensory processing or sensory arousal, like we mentioned before, the 4 A's, sensory modulation, sensory regulation. Sorry,
It's coming up the 4 A's.
Oh, right, sorry. Okay, so we're going to mention it in a little bit. And the sensory integration. I mean, all these things that require the sensory, we talk sensory, but at the end, we will discuss how it's all connected to being emotional, to being behavioral. But now we'll keep on looking at it.
Next slide, please.
Oh, no, it's still my slide. Okay, there is something important to note, that there is a sensory profile. It's a term that we don't use very often. And basically every person, and I'm not just talking about the kids, I'm talking about every therapist and every parent and every person has a pattern in which they perceive and respond to the sensory information, that shape their interaction with the world. And this is our sensory profile. And everybody has a sensory profile. As long as they are similar, it's easier to march together. If they conflict, then we have to do more changes.
Next slide.
Okay, next.
Oh, so.
Okay, the self-regulation, okay, it refers to the capacity to control the nature and the intensity of the responses, okay, to the stimuli. And basically, we're looking for a lot of things, such as we want to be able to calm oneself. We want to be able to delay gratification, okay? We want to be able to tolerate changes, to decide what we're attending to. Some things could be in the front, some things should be in the background. And this is what is important in order for us to be able to show regulation and to act the way it's expected from the demands of the environment. Next.
Okay, so self-regulation is frequently conceptualized through the 4 A's of regulation, which describe how the nervous system maintain a just right state of optimal function. Arousal, the first one, going from sleepy to alert, is the ability to transition through all the different states. It's like rounding up when you're ready to work out or winding down when you're ready for bed. Attention, the second one, is the ability to focus on one specific thing while filtering out all the other distractions. It's like a mental spotlight, ignoring background stuff. Affect is the magnitude of our own emotions and helps us experience, and it helps us have an experience and a feeling without being overwhelmed by it. Action is the behavioral output. It involves impulse control, delaying gratification, and physical coordination to actually allow the thing to happen. All of these 4 A's work together, and all of these 4 A's influence each other. Next slide, please. And basically, when all of them work together in a nice coordinated way, and there's a good match between the needs of the child's the needs of the child and their abilities and the demands of the environment, if you remember our 3 circles, then there's a good fit with the sensory processing and the child can remain regulated. Next slide.
The important thing for us as caregivers and therapists is to really read between the lines. The reason that we want to read between the lines is because we really believe that for every behavior, for every action, there's a why that's behind it. So if we see that the child is, like we said before, that he could go into a freeze mode or he can be in a flight mode, okay, all those things, all the changes in the physical behavior or in the body language or in the affect, all these are important for us to know if we're in that just right challenge or we're exceeded it. Maybe it's too big of a challenge. Maybe something is too quick. Something is not registering. And in order to be able to change, we actually want to understand what happened before the child changed the behavior, before the child changed something in his affect. And this way we will be able to know what was the trigger and influence by changing that trigger to allow him an adaptive response.
Next one. Next slide. Okay, so now we're going to look at the senses that we actually look at. We have our basic hearing, vision, smell, and taste. And then we have 5 other senses, or 4 other senses here, that are part of what we call the power senses. They're a group of senses that are most essential in our self-regulation. Unlike the external senses of sight and vision, these systems provide the foundation for an internal map of the brain to stay calm and organized. Next slide, please. Each sensory input has its own specific characteristics, and our senses and our systems allow us to perceive these characteristics, but each of us as individual perceive them differently. Some people here feel things stronger than others. Some people smell things stronger than others. Noise bothers some people. Noise totally doesn't bother other people. Being aware of our ability to regulate, or let's say it differently, that sensory input is critical for our ability to perceive and to act upon. And if we interpret sensory information or sensory characteristics, they can impede on us or they can empower us. So the relationship of these characteristics is actually quite crucial for proper sensory regulation, and they differ in each one of us. In the visual, right, okay. So we're gonna run through these slides because basically I hope that everybody knows our different systems. And visual system, we look not only at the visual aspects of things, but also about the spatial perceptual aspects and the ability to discriminate visual information. Next slide. Next, thank you. And smell and taste, we look at sweet, sour, salty, bitter, and
umami.
Next slide. And the auditory, which we all know is a very crucial part for social communication, characteristics of intensity, frequency, quality, timing, and spatial interactions are very sensitive to our children. How strong things is, the processing of auditory information in my day-to-day life, blocking out certain noises, hearing certain noises, all influence.
And another big piece, just a minute, about the auditory is that a lot of times there's a gap, i.e. the auditory could be slow and the visual could be fast, and there's this gap between the senses in order to understand what's happening. It makes it very confusing.
The sense of touch, our tactile system, which helps us feel, explore, and recognize different shapes, different sizes, the locations of things. We recognize the properties of objects without vision through our touch, and social skills are developed through being touched and touching. These sensations, if we go back for a minute about the tactile, the visual, and the auditory, you and I can block out if we want to. Tactile and the next, what we call the power senses, can't be blocked out. But if I decide not to hear or not to see or not to taste, I can just close my eyes and hold my ears. Next slide, please. Our proprioceptive system is our unconscious awareness of sensation that's received through the proprioceptive joints, muscles, ligaments, and tendons. It's basically where we are in space. It's the awareness of our body positions, and it's being able to navigate without vision. It's picking up your cup and not spilling the liquid that's in it. It's navigating the steps while you're holding a big bundle of groceries. It's knowing where you are in space. Next one is the vestibular system, located in our inner ear, which deals with position of head. It's our balance, our postural control, our movement, our ability to transition in different movements with different amounts of strength. It's our physical capabilities. It keeps us upright and it keeps us safe. Next slide.
Okay, sensory processing. Okay, it occurs when the senses work together to help us respond appropriately. Okay, we need, in order to put that adaptive reaction, we need all the senses to work together. That's the process that's happening within our brain. The next one. Okay, but sometimes this process, okay, it doesn't work, and there's a sensory processing disorder. Okay, and this term refers to when the body is unable to tolerate everything, to take everything together, and to, I would say, to digest all that sensory information efficiently. We can see it in different senses, okay, in different senses altogether. And this really influences the way that we react. The next one. Okay, there is basically two types of reactivity that we can experience, or that children can experience. It's either overreactivity or underreactivity. When we talk about overreactivity, the child with overreactivity, he tends to respond very quickly and negatively to small amounts of sensory input. Okay, he has a little cut, and in a minute we'll see, he can shout, he can, you know, go to a real big tantrum just from a little thing that has changed. At the same, on the other hand, the child with underreactivity is the child, he may have a problem registering that information. Okay, not all the information that comes from the environment is being registered within his brain. So he will look really drowsy, and he will not be like reactive to the environment. Or at the same time, it can be seeking that extra information that he's not receiving. So he will constantly be looking for information in order to understand what's happening in the environment. When we look about an overreactive child, okay, he can have a meltdown from a lot of things. He can be very sensitive in hearing things. He could hear them, far away from far away, some things that are coming close. He could be a picky eater, okay, because things tend to influence his taste, the touch of things. He doesn't like to be touched, doesn't like to be hugged. All those things, and I'm not gonna, read every single one, but they are all giving us this picture of this child that is overwhelmed from the environment. He's not able to grasp it well. Okay. And then we can see 4 types of behaviors from being over responsive. The child could either go into a fight, he doesn't want to have those changes. Doesn't want that extra information, and he could fight it. Or we could see him flight. You could see that child that he's just leaving the environment when there's too much happening, or when there's too much that is expected from him. He could be fright. We could see the fear in his body. We could see that body language of big eyes, stiff body, all those things that we will see later on in the movies. Or he could be in a freeze mode, i.e., he got so much information, he's in a shutdown mode. Nothing else can go into his body because he cannot grasp it. So it's just overwhelming, and he shuts down his screen for the world in a way. Okay.
We can play.
Yeah, we can play that movie, and I will go along with it. Yes.
Tell me if you don't hear it.
Okay, this is a street, obviously a street, I think in New York. It's so busy. No,
We don't hear it.
we don't hear. We don't hear.
There's no sound, Renana. Do you hear it, Renana?
Do you hear it? Maybe you have to do the optimize, whatever that
Do
is.
people hear it? No, you don't.
We
Oh, you
don't
didn't hear it.
hear
I'm
it.
sorry. So let me try to do this again. 1 minute. I'll go back. Let me try to do share minute. I'm not sure how to
29.
share sound. Screen sharing, video sharing. 1 minute. It's supposed to be working, I think. Nope. Does anybody here know how to share the sound specifically? Okay, I'll try to figure it out. Do you want to move on to the next slide, or do you want to?
Next,
I'll try to
I
figure
think
it out
there's
for
a lot of
the.
movies.
I'll try to figure it out for the next one.
Okay, because I think you have a bunch of movies coming up
Right.
now.
Okay, so I'll try to figure it out. You continue.
Seder.
Okay.
1 second. We just have to get the
The full screen
full
of that.
screen. And now can you just put the full screen on?
Yes, 1 minute. You don't see the full screen?
It's kind of
It's
cut.
split.
1 minute. Sorry, I'll try doing this again. Now do you see a full screen?
No.
No. Okay, 1 minute. Let's do this again. Ah, now I found the share sound. Okay, let's try this. Now do you see a full screen?
No, but let's go if you share sound. Maybe we'll go to that and we can skip this.
Stop me if you don't hear, okay?
Okay, right now we only see part of it. Right. Okay, so we're going to look at this standing in the street Okay, it's partial.
Partial?
Yeah.
Should I stop it?
Okay, the child was walking in this, he was standing in the street and all of a sudden came this scooter. There was this ambulance on the side. He just ran away. It's like too big. Basically, he went into this coffee shop that we all go to have fun and enjoy. So they overload, both auditory, both visual, with the smell, with the touch, with the movement. I don't think it grasps. Forget it. Forget it on the next slide.
And now you can move to the next video.
Okay.
I hope that you'll be able to. No, not yet, but it doesn't really matter. I hope that we'll be able to overcome it. But when we're talking about a hyperactive, sensory in the tactile mode, or tactile defensiveness, we see usually kids that are in an anxiety mode. They're hostile, they're overwhelmed by physical things. Small scrapes could be like a big thing for them. And they're a lot of times avoiding new activities, okay? Because new activities could be challenging and they don't know how they will cope with them. So they are best for them to stay in their comfort zone, which is the least possible of novelty and the least possible of unexpected things. Okay, next.
I'm going to try to run the next slides and see if
I don't know. It's too big, the font. Like you can only see part of the movie.
Does anybody else experience it? Do you see the whole screen on your thing?
Yeah, Leah, you see the screen? Yeah? Okay. So let's try this one as well.
Okay.
So they see the whole screen. It's only Esther and myself. Okay. Okay, so let me just give you a little preview of this coming funny things that they call. It's like experiences that if you look at those kids through the sensory regulation piece, we can see a lot of things that are not funny at all. Okay, so let's see this little boy. He's in this walker. And look at his eyes, how alert he is. Not alert, but like overwhelmed. Okay, he wants to touch this. And it's much too much. And if you can see, he fidgets with his fingers. He still has that sensation. Okay, that's too much. I think the parents have sometimes don't even appreciate that it was overwhelming. This child is in the freeze mode. He's scared. He's terrified, but he doesn't move. Okay, he doesn't even ask to be picked up. Okay, I think same with this little boy. He wants to touch, or a girl, I don't know. Okay, and it's much too much for him. We were thinking, Esther and myself, how he has a cat, but this type of sensation doesn't work for him. Okay, she's introduced a new toy, but she's running away. She's looking for a comfort zone.
You scared of it?
These movies, they don't work in the right pace. This little boy, okay, he sees, he hears it, and it's overwhelming for him.
This is his eyes.
Oh
no. Goes backwards.
It's just a bear.
Starts to cry. Okay, let's go on.
Pues ¿para qué lo prende? No lo prenda.
You can move to the next move.
Okay.
I think we got it.
All right.
Okay, great. We want to see, we were talking about tactile. You can see
There
this
you
little
go.
girl, she wants to go somewhere.
Come on. Come on,
She's on the
sweetheart.
safe surface for herself, but she needs to get off to the grass. And I want you just to experience how difficult it is for her because of her sensitivity, her tactile sensitivity.
There you go. Good girl, Reagan.
Okay, I don't think that's what she expected. She's running back. She's taking a pacifier that
Cassie
might
with
help
you?
her
Go on, you
to
can do it.
down-regulate that experience. Okay, she's judging whether she could do it or not. She wants to go in that little car that's there. Okay, if you can see her, she's walking on her tippy toes a little bit. She's
Good girl,
touching.
Reagan.
Now she's ready to put it
Girl.
down.
What's that you see? Can you look at
Able
Mom?
to go. Okay, let's go for the next one.
1 minute.
I think seeing those things, seeing those differences from what you expect or from what you experience is important for us to really understand that every child has their own sensory profile and feels things differently. And this is why we want to start learning those cues. Okay, this little boy, I think he's from the previous slide. But look what happened to him. When his mom is next to him and she's just blowing her nose.
Can you hear her blowing her nose? This is a mother who's blowing her nose. Now he loves his mother, he's very connected to her, so he can go in and out of regulation. But when the noise gets too noxious, what happens to him?
You silly baby. Does Mommy's nose scare you when I blow it? Does that scare you when Mommy blows her nose? Yeah?
Okay.
And it gets to a
Silly
point.
baby.
Again, one of the things I'd like you to take from this is how normal, healthy children go in and out of regulation. And based on social interactions, based on things they put in their mouth to help regulate, whatever strategies they use, they can usually stay within
In the
the challenge of the moment, whether it was the little girl on the grass or this little boy. Our children that don't always manage to self-regulate, they experience it in a much more intense and magnified state, and they don't always come back as quickly as these children do.
Right. The recovery is a big piece of the sensory regulation. How quick it happens. A lot of times we see that the reaction happened very quick, but the recovery in order to come back is very slow.
You can go to the next one.
Great.
Okay, I don't see a whole screen here.
Okay. Okay, when we talk about vestibular dysfunction, again, we're talking about the hyperactive, okay, or movement intolerance. We see a lot of times that the child is slow to move. He's more stationary, more sedentary. He avoids different, I would say, different changes. He could have motion sickness. He could be fearing leaving the ground. Okay, all those things could show us that there is an issue that we want to investigate, to understand better. A lot of times we see those children with the proprioceptive deficits. Again, we said that the proprioception gives us the sense of our body, so they don't like new activities, okay? Because new activities, they need us to reorganize all our information. And a lot of times they would avoid weight-bearing activities that put extra extra input on their joints and their muscles. So if they're hyperactive for that input, then it really bothers them to be in those situations. Next. I think it's another movie. Okay. This movie about this little girl swinging, and it's getting worse and worse and worse, the situation, except for her mother or her caregiver is giving her a hand. And look what she does with her own hands to that anchor that allows her to tolerate it. Let's see the movie. Okay, look at her hands. She's holding her hands. She's making her head. It's getting worse and worse and worse.
Vestibular sense, the sense of movement,
Abby.
the ability to tolerate it, just a
Hi,
little bit of play,
baby.
light touch.
It's okay,
holding on
baby.
tight.
It's okay.
And the voice. She's also listening to her mom's voice that is trying to downregulate
Just hold on his hand.
that extra.
Here.
They see it all.
And now you hear it well and see it well.
You hear it well and see it well?
I don't hear you.
Do other see it well and hear it well? Yeah? Okay.
Yes.
Okay. We saw it already. It's okay.
Okay. Should I move to the next slide?
Yes, please.
All right.
Okay. This child here, he has this background noise, so I don't know if he really is trying to regulate himself, but according to what the mom is saying there, he can go for hours and hours. Let's see what he does. Just running around the table. Okay.
That's Sam's cup. And we're back to the running.
Okay, so you see how intense
He will do this for hours.
Okay, let's go into the next one. Okay, this is, it has a few words, this slide, but I think all of them are very important. Is that we're talking all this time about sensory input, sensory regulation, sensory overload, etc. And it's interconnected to the emotional and interconnected to the behavior regulation, i.e. we can influence every single one by changing the environment into better emotional support, change of the sensation of the input that is given. But basically, in order to get the behavior regulation, we need all those three things to work together.
Next slide. Okay, so what do? How do we help this overreactive child who's experiencing such intense sensory stimulation? It's overwhelming, it's sometimes painful. Treatment needs to allow for the sensations to come down. Okay, these are the children we said that need minimal amount of sensation from their environment to react. So what we want to do is we want to give a lot of very deep, heavy, predictable sensations in an organized, understandable way. If we can look at each system, we could see what we can give into it. So the proprioceptive system needs a lot of deep, heavy joint compression work. We try to cover large areas of body and we try to maintain it for longer periods of time. If we look at the oral motor, which is the feed in the mouth, we also like to give a lot of stimulation in the mouth, but deep, continuous, steady, and things that require a lot of heavy work within the mouth. If we look at the vestibular or the movement, then we want to try to introduce more sensory input in an organized way so they can learn to tolerate it. We stay in predictable one direction movements. We don't change or move about fast. We try to continue in a way that just like the little girl was holding on to the mother's hand while she was swinging, we try to give the children a little bit more control, whether it's swinging and holding on to a string while they're swinging and pulling themselves. But the idea is basically slow, continuous, where they're in control of the movements. Tactile, we want to never do things by surprise. We want to always let them see us before we come to touch them, ask permission. We try to touch large areas and not do ticklish types of touch, but firm, deep pressure. With the visual, we try to avoid noxious kinds of different lighting patterns. We try to maintain a low light or a white light as opposed to a very bright yellow kind of light. We try to monitor the amount of stimuli that's in an environment so that they can focus on what they're doing. And in terms of the auditory and the hearing, we work on bringing in headphones and all kinds of things that can block noise from the environment to, again, relieve the noxious stimuli of it. We try to work on one group of noises at a time and not have a room that's full of many different noises. We also work a lot on self-regulating because we think that once the child can take control over the things that he'll do better. So we do a lot of breathing exercises. We do a lot of imagery, relaxation activities like bubbles, or we said the breathing activities.
Right, the breathing, we have all kinds of systems, and we also like heavy work and heavy weights and things that really help use that proprio calming influence.
The keys
to the
to
general
bringing down the overactivity is calming, slow, and heavy work. Okay, go to the next slide. And this one. Okay, so now we're going to look at the underreactive child, sorry. This child, he doesn't receive a lot of, if we said the overreactive child needs a little bit of stimulus from the environment to start acting out, this child needs a ton. He doesn't incorporate the senses that he's getting from the environment. He's sluggish, he's weak, he leans on people, he has a low energy level. He has little motivation to explore things. He does things slowly. He often seems very distracted. His energy level is really low.
We sometimes tend to think that he's not interested, but this is an assumption that is not always right.
Go to the next one. His tactile system looks like unresponsive. He needs to really feel things because his system isn't taking in the stimuli. So he is always constantly touching and pushing on surfaces. He might bite or scratch or pinch just to get that extra input. There are certain foods that he might like or crave more than other ones because they're spicy or especially sweet. In the vestibular system, he's the child that doesn't get enough movement. He needs to keep moving or he has trouble sitting still. He might self-stimulate himself by shaking his head or rocking or jumping or squiggling in his chair. He craves intense movement, such as bouncing or taking risks or scary rides. He seeks out the movements when he wants to engage in environments. In his proprioception, we see a lot of poor body awareness or poor position in space. He might use too much force when he holds something and break things. He might push and jump and bite again because he's not integrating the senses in the proper way. So he doesn't know how much is needed for the exact object. He's the kid that picks up the cup and spills the water all over because he had no idea how much he was supposed to regulate his amount of grasp on the cup. He seeks sensations and he pushes his head into the corners of things. He looks for movement and he looks for deep pressure. Go to the
Okay,
next
next.
one.
Okay, we're going to look at this child that we found for an underreactive child, even though there's like a mix here in that movie. Okay, he's underreactive for certain things and he's overreactive for other things. I.e., you can start the movie just so that we can see how focused he is on his idea of trying to get that spoon into this place.
Doing?
Everybody's trying to get his attention by
Remy.
talking to him. Different
Remington, what are
voice.
you doing?
He's about 2 years old.
Remington.
Okay,
Hey.
they're calling him. Auditory doesn't work for him.
What are you
Funny
doing?
things doesn't
little
work.
buddy
Touching
boy?
doesn't work.
Remy, look at mommy.
Okay, he's there.
Are you-
He's
Are
very
you building?
focused.
I don't think that's gonna stay there.
Okay, he has an idea. He's gonna turn it around. Maybe he heard what his mother
Remy.
said, but it's not gonna stay.
Remington, look at mommy. Ivy, say Remy.
Okay.
Make some weird noises. Daddy, make some weird noises over there.
Hey, Remington. Remy.
Oh, there's
Okay,
Daddy.
he did respond to that deeper voice of the dad. Okay, I think we can go on.
Yep.
Yeah. Let's go on for another one.
What are you doing?
Okay, so how do we try to influence the child who's under-responsive? What do we want to try to do? We want to give him more intense, unpredictable, varied movements. And again, if we look at all the different systems, we can see if we're talking about the proprioception, we want to move quickly and have pillow fights and wheelbarrow walks and animal walks and bouncing on movable equipment. And we want to just get him to integrate as much sensory stimulation within the joints as possible. If we look at the oral motor, then we also want a lot of different types of foods, the crunchy, the spicy, the spicy, the ones that are popping in your mouth. Sometimes we want to do straws and different textures within the drinks that we have.
Mhm.
If we look at the vestibular system, then if we used with the overreactive child a very controlled linear movement, here we want to vary the direction of the movement. We want to change the speeds. We want to change the positions of the head. We want the children tumble salting and scooter boarding and trampolining. We want to give them as much deep, heavy input into the vestibular and proprioceptions as we can. In the tactile system, we want to working on discriminating between different types of touch and sensations. In the visual thing, we're going to add more contrast in the visual field, whether it's highly colored papers or changing different lights. And in the auditory thing, we want to try to introduce different kinds of frequencies and beats of music, tempos and rhythms to encourage more deep, intense sensory input.
I want to just put one thing into a perspective, which I feel that we didn't specify enough, is that every sense could be either reactive, like underreactive or overreactive within the same child for the same profile. It's not like that you're underreactive, then you're underreactive for all the senses or over for all of them. And this makes it very hard for the child to combine that information.
Right. And with our ASD children, we see that a lot. We see a child who's auditorily very sensitive and visually very underreactive.
Or the other way around,
or-
whatever. Okay, let's go on.
Okay. So if we said before that an underreactive child can either be passive and not participating because he's not getting, he can also be a child who seeks out more intense sensory input. And he is actually that child that is all over the place. He's the busy bee. He has difficulty sticking to one task. He seems like he's always on the go. He's fidgeting with everything all the time. He takes risks and he does things very loudly. He talks loud. He touches hard. He is craving more and more movement, and he is basically a very poorly organized child.
It's gone. Okay, we can see a movie here of the two brothers. One is influencing the other. Now, if it's happening, you know, once in a while, that's fine. But if they're constantly within this extra movement, then we're in trouble, or they are actually also. You can start it. Okay, I'm glad they have them pillows at the bottom, but those sensory seekers, they don't always take care of their safety. Okay, he took a break, but his brother is still calling him to come back. Okay, and it can be over and over. Let's go on for our next movie. There is more sensory seekers. Okay, he's seeking. Look at him just rubbing his face on that carpet until he gets to the edge. And then he seems to be regulated when he gets out of it.
And now he's had enough.
He's happy. Okay, there's another one with the machine. He gets that information. He likes to get that moving. I want you to look at his eyes, or her eyes. I don't know, I always refer to as him. Okay, because he's not just moving around and dancing, but if you can see, he's trying to get that extra input with his eyes sticking to the edge of the crescent here. I hope you guys are seeing it different than us. Okay, and he can go over and over. Okay, let's go on. Okay, we're pretty good in our times, right? Even though we were rushed, but we were pretty okay. Okay, so basically what we can see with, again, just to get back into the ASD mode, with the vision, a lot of times we see that the children with ASD, they have a more limited visual field. Okay, they could focus on things that we don't focus, or, you know, the neurotypical don't focus, and then they could miss a lot of the information. Okay, they will not have a full understanding of what's happening, of the social interaction. Okay, that's if we're taking into consideration their specific vision issues, whether it is the eye contact, whether it is the scanning, all those things are impaired. With the hearing, they have a difficulty identifying even the vibrations of the noise in the air. Sometimes they do, and this was already like tested, but they can definitely have difficulty identifying the tone of the voice, i.e. it's different if we say no and if we say no. And there's a social contact and interaction and meaning that sometimes they lack of it. They have a difficulty sometimes in the speed that they translate or understand the words around or the noises around. A lot of times we have the issue, in order to understand like noise, you also want to have a direction of the noise, if it's coming towards you, if it's going away. All these things they really influence the way that you react to those to that information. With the taste, they sometimes have difficulty identifying, needing a certain taste, avoiding other tastes. The next slide. Okay, with the smell, you could see them avoiding certain smells. You could see them craving other smells. Definitely, there's a difference in being able to adapt to the smells. The one thing that we do need to take into consideration is sometimes because of the difficulty in identifying different smells, they could not protect themselves from smells that are not good to consume, i.e., whether it could be detergents versus something that looks the same as a Fanta bottle, and they could really harm themselves. So we have to be very careful as adults to monitor the environments around them. With the light touch, you can see sometimes aversion to light touch. They don't like it. They don't want it. Mainly like Esther was responding, the more that things are unpredictable, it's harder for them to accept them. Now, to make it predictable for them, it will be either getting them ready or showing them cues or pictures or using all kinds of aids to allow them to understand what's happening. So things don't catch them by surprise, because surprises are not always good for them. They're prone to injuries because they don't always see all the environment. They could look ahead for something and fall into other things on the way. The other thing about vestibular things is sometimes their balance is off. Again, they don't feel their body as well. They're not able to coordinate their movements, to coordinate change like weight from one leg to the other. All these things are more, I would say, clumsy at times. Again, that would be the more things. They have difficulty in new things, okay? And we see it. They prefer to have their setup that they're used to, they're comfortable with. You always talk about them, okay, they're setting everything in rows. It comes from this need to have this order on the one hand, but on the other hand, the difficulty in having an idea, having what to do with those things that I set up. Okay, all those things, we see them in our children. Anything else that we want to add? No. Okay, so we're into our last slide. To take home, okay? These are things that we would hope that you sort of could take from our speech today. That again, occupational therapy enables us, enables the child to participate physically, emotionally, and socially as much as possible. And we always say the as much as possible because we know that it's not going to be full. Okay, this is why it's important to understand. Sensory emotional regulation is crucial. Okay, and it's crucial for learning, for interaction. I just want to mention, like we mentioned before, I mean, if you see a child that he doesn't like hugs and he goes away, so us as a parent, we say, oh, he doesn't love me, so I'm going to be less into interaction with him. And this wheel can just go down the hill. Okay, if we can understand that it's coming from a different place and we want to have the right connection and communication, then we have to understand the sensory profile. And this is where, like, everyone has a sensory profile, and we want to make them as we want them to work collaboratively, those two profiles, i.e. the caregiver and the child. Because if you think of a parent that is very quick and on the move and the child is very slow, then there is a big gap and it's just opening more and more.
The mismatching.
Right. And we want to be able to read the signs, find the tools, and help the child engage as much as possible and feel that he's part of things and not that things are happening on him, to him, without his consent for a way. I hope you can take some of them at home.
Last slide.
And the last slide. Thank you all. Good night. And we hope that we made sense of your senses and our senses, even though it was rushed, and maybe we were happy to hear any questions or anything.
please.
So first of all, I want to thank you both so much. I know I learned a lot of new things since this is not the field that I come from. And I understand how important it is, specifically for what you said, our type of children. They're dealing with a lot of sensory issues, each one in their own unique way. And I wanted to open up now for questions. I see there aren't any questions in the chat. So if any of you want to ask a question through the chat now, you're welcome to do that. If any of you want to open your mic and speak, that's also okay. We still have a few more minutes. I will add in 1 second that I will upload a link to the questionnaire. Some of you who have been here before know this, that at the end of every session, I would like you to answer a questionnaire. It's a few questions about the session. It really helps us at Eye2Eye understand your needs better. So I'll put the link here in chat, and I'll also send it to you in the email afterwards. And thank you very much. So here we're open for questions, and I see Dr. Marin has a question. You're welcome to ask.
Okay. Thank you, Rihanna, and thank you, the presenter, for very entertaining presentation. And my question is, the first one is on evaluation. Like, do you have a standard tool to use when a child is brought to your center to evaluate whether he has sensory issues or not, or whether what specific occupational therapy you're going to provide for that child? The other thing is, like, as a mother who is living in a country where there are very limited occupational therapists. So do you have any suggestions to use to help children at home? Thank you.
Okay. So in terms of the evaluations, we do have standardized tools that we use. We have one standardized tool that was created by Winnie Dunn. It's called the sensory profile. It's an assessment that is based on thousands of children's sensory profiles. And basically, we can look at whether the child functions typically like most children or non-typically like most children. And based on the way the parents fill out this questionnaire, they will receive a scoring of either typical, less than typical, or extremely more than typical. And in those three categories, we can basically say this child is functional or not functional within this specific sensory system. That is one questionnaire, but it's a standardized evaluation.
We can bring it in, right?
Yeah, we could post it. I can post the links to it. The other evaluation is called the SPP sensory profile. I'm missing, maybe it's just the sensory profile evaluation. It was created by a professor of occupational therapy who specialized in this area. She runs she passed away, but she opened a fantastic clinic in Denver called the STAR Clinic, and there is tons of online information within that center about sensory regulation with sensory tools and ideas and programs, and a lot of videos online that parents can get a lot of information from. The sensory profile itself looks not only at the sensory regulation aspects, but also how sensory input affects motor development and motor control, and also our ability to discriminate. So from that, we can pull out the kids that are having postural deficits based on a sensory integrative problem, or a modulation regulation problem based on being overreactive or underreactive. Those are the two main tools that we use. There are many online questionnaires that people have put together that are pretty nice in terms of being able to say, oh my God, my child is falling into this category, and he definitely is more overreactive than normal children his own age, or typical children his own age. And then there is as well many sites of nice information of how to help what kind of home programs you can use.
Another piece that I feel that could be relevant is to really film. You know, you could film the interaction, you can film, you're talking, okay, what can we do? And you can share it. I mean, we're happy to look into it. We're happy to come over and look into it. But I'm saying once you film, we can also think together. I mean, this is not necessarily that the OT has to be there. Maybe you can just use that mode to get more information and think together.
What was the second question?
That was it.
Okay.
What you do.
I will add, first of all, that
does
one
that answer?
Dr.
Does
Marin?
that answer?
Yes, it's answered. The first one is answered.
Okay. And
the second one I think has to do also with more practical tools of once you assess the child and you understand his sensory issues, what do you have any specific tips or what you could do? You had the table where you said if it's overstimulation or understimulation, things like that. But if there are any other specific tools that you...
There are some very good books that are written that have a lot of ideas. There's the Explosive Child. There's the Lucy Jane Miller has many books written on the subject. I mean, we could put together a bibliography if you'd like.
So I think I'll say this also because I see the chat and also for my willingness to, if you could share them with me and I'll send it out to everyone here who's interested, including also the PowerPoint that you used tonight. I think it was a lot of information. So for people here who want to go over the information and maybe read more, that would be very, very helpful. I will say also... But
I do...
Yeah, sure.
Sorry. No, I also just wanted to say that there really is a lot of online material. So if you have the basics and you put in the right kind of keywords,
there's tons. You're gonna be overwhelmed.
You'll be sensorily overloaded with the information that's on the web.
Okay. So again, if you even have a few ideas, just so I could send out to give some direction for that. And really, I wanted to thank you again for this. One of my dreams in Eye to Eye is really to one day create some kind of website or forum with all this information from the different disciplinaries, including of course occupational therapy, speech therapy, psychology, and some of it that also could be maybe one day be translated to Amharic as well. Because I know that one of the difficulties is that all the information is in English, and for some people it makes it harder. So I am inviting whoever is here, if you want to take part in that, in fulfilling that dream, my dream, and I know other people's dream as well, please contact me. If there are any other questions, you're welcome. I see now in the chat, sorry, there's one question from Mesfen Kabede. I hope I said that right. That he writes, thanks for your learning event. My question is on the take-home points. Which one is most important to deal with nonverbal autistic child, occupational or sensory?
I think sensory. I think the interaction of body to body and getting to know the body better because he cannot express himself is the way to connect to that child.
Intimacy through touch, through movement,
through
engagement,
and I would say having fun together, enjoying the movement and reading the cues, because these are the things that he cannot tell us. So we need to start learning how he reacts when he enjoys, when he doesn't enjoy, and to be able to monitor the information that he needs to process. But the other thing is really to try and find, if there isn't a way, some kind of, I would say, alternative communication rather than speech. I mean, we can find whether it is pictures, whether it is sound, usually the speech pathologists do that. but it's an important piece to try and understand how we can help him communicate, which is not verbal.
I will add on that note also that Ida has a few YouTube sessions with a speech pathologist that talks about those aspects. So if anyone is interested, you're welcome to go onto our YouTube channel and watch those. I will also mention that this video will also be uploaded to our YouTube channel for you to watch and to share with other people that you think might be relevant. It's our time to end. I want to thank all of you again, and especially Dr. Esther and Miss Yael. Thank you very, very much. I'm sure everybody appreciated this because, as Dr. Marin mentioned, occupational therapy is something that doesn't really exist in Ethiopia today. I did get an email this week, and I understood that in the University of Gondar, there is a program that started, and they have their bachelor's finished last year. So it's starting. Hopefully, will grow over the years. But thank you very, very much, and we hope to see you in the future. Have a good night.
Okay. Thank you. Good night.
Bye-bye.
Bye.
Thank you very much. Have a good night.
Good night.